Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm covering my top 10 tips for how to travel with an infant. Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sarah from thecharmingdetroiter.com. I run a lifestyle blog over there all about style and home decor and travel and food. So if that sounds like something that you'd be interested in hearing more about, be sure to click the big red subscribe button below and to click the notification bell so that you don't miss any of my new videos. Today I'm talking about my top 10 tips for how to travel with an infant. So over the past 4.5 months since Sophie was born, we have learned a couple of tricks for how to travel more easily with her. Of course, some of these will depend on the age of your infant, but I'm excited to share with you guys some of the tips that we found and kind of discovered on our own and also on the internet for how to travel more easily with an infant. Before we get started today, if you like this video, make sure that you give it a big thumbs up below. It really helps me out. And without any further ado, let's get right into the video. Okay, so tip number 1, super important. Before you do anything, before you make any plans, make sure that you check with your pediatrician. It's very important for infants that they have the correct vaccinations depending on where you're going to be traveling to, especially with international travel. And so make sure that you check with your pediatrician before you book any travel. So if you can see if you can expedite their vaccination schedule or if there are any other recommendations that your pediatrician has for traveling to that location. And just to generally make sure that your pediatrician feels like it's a safe destination. Of course, this is going to vary on so many different factors: your infant's age, their health, their medical conditions, the travel destination that you guys are choosing. So make sure that you check with your own doctor for more information. Okay, so tip number 2, and this is huge, and I didn't see this anywhere online and I don't know why, but try to adjust your infant's feeding and sleeping schedule in advance. Don't wait till you get to your destination, especially if it's more than 2 or 3 hours time difference. So we traveled recently to Steamboat, Colorado, and it was a 2-hour time difference from our local time zone. We started about a week in advance, kind of trying to shift her sleeping schedule as well as her feeding schedule so that it would jive a little bit better with our trip. And so we wouldn't be having to wake up at 4:30 in the morning because she's awake at 4:30 in the morning, and she wouldn't be super crabby at dinner because it's normally her bedtime. So what we did was we would just kind of let her stay up as late as we could get her to stay up, which was usually about 20 to 30 minutes later each day, and then kind of keep her schedule shifting by that same amount the next day. So for example, her bedtime is normally 7:30 to 8 p.m. And so the first night I think we got her up to 8:30 p.m. before she just couldn't handle it anymore and we had to put her to bed. And then she woke up a little bit later the next morning. It's not an easy thing to do by any means, but trying to shift that sleep schedule and that feeding schedule a little bit before the trip can really benefit you during the trip, and it can really benefit your little one and just kind of make everybody overall happier. All right, tip number 3 is to pack the essentials in your carry-on and pack extras. So make sure that you have extra diapers, extra formula, extra bottles, extra wipes, anything that you might need in the event that, for example, your plane is delayed. You want to make sure that you have enough diapers and enough formula to get them through that time. I have this large, and I can link it below, backpack. This backpack is amazing, by the way. We did a lot of research on different backpacks for traveling when we went to Disney World back in December, and this was the winner. It is unbelievable how much stuff I can actually pack in here and have it easily accessible. There's so many different pockets, so as long as you are organized in your mind and you know where everything is in the bag, it's super easy to get through and super easy to store a lot of things in here. One other bonus tip I want to show you guys is, so I picked up these wet dry bags, I think they're called, and these are waterproof bags that basically if she has an accident on the plane and her clothes are wet, they can go in this bag and then you just zip it up and then nothing else is going to get wet or gross. So these are great. I always make sure that I have one of these on the plane just in case. Okay, so tip number 4, and this is a great tip, I read this online, I think that this is a great idea, is to, a few weeks in advance, take some of her favorite toys and hide them away in the carry-on bag that you plan to use. So for Sophie, that was her little Sophie giraffe, and then her little Olaf, and then also this Kringle bag she really likes, we got from Love Every. So the idea is that if she's having a meltdown on the plane and nothing else is really helping to calm her down, the hope is that we might be able to kind of preoccupy her and distract her with her old favorite toys from continuing the temper tantrum. Okay, so tip number 5 is to try to plan your travel schedule around her. So she is usually in the best mood in the morning, so we try to fly in the morning. You can also try to fly like when they would be napping already, so that they hopefully sleep on the plane. All right, so tip number 6 is to get to the airport early. Flying is stressful enough as it is, and you don't want to make it worse on yourself. So get like a membership to the lounge, or just go hang out, grab some food instead of like rushing to the airport last minute. Alright, so we're heading into the mountains, and I forgot to do one of the tips that I wanted to do on the plane. So if you have kids and you're traveling with infants, they will let you board the plane early. You know, if your kid is kind of like fussy, stay off the plane as long as you can and have somebody else who's in your party go on board the plane, put the luggage in the overhead bin and everything, and then get on at the last minute so that they can be like around walking and you know, not so fussy on the plane sitting there while you're waiting to take off. Okay, so tip number 9 that I have for you guys is something that was a huge lifesaver. So since we were flying to Colorado, I wasn't able to take, you know, the majority of the stuff that comes along with having a baby. So we found like a baby equipment rental place. I rented a bumbo chair and a bouncer and a swing from them and a diaper genie, and it was like $100 and some for the whole week. So that was something that I found online that was available, and I think that's a huge help. And they just dropped it off at our condo, and they're gonna pick it up when we leave. And so if you're planning to travel to Steamboat Springs, I can link the company below for you guys, but I'll link a few other companies that I found that are more like nationally based. And my last tip for you is to be nice to everybody. Be nice to all the parents on the flight. You don't know which mom or dad is like a temper tantrum away from having a total meltdown, so just be nice. All right, so that's gonna do it for today's top 10 tips for how to travel with an infant. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure you hit the like button below and hit that big red subscribe button so that you can, why are you wriggling so much? Hit the big red subscribe button below so that you don't miss any of my videos. Click the notification bell next to it. Until next time, bye friends.